All right, we got a great show for you this week. We got Pete finally responding to Kanye. Everyone's being traded in the NFL, and we got our special guest, Football Marc. Now I'd like to welcome to the show my co-host, the incomparable Sean Davis. Welcome, Sean.
What's going on, brother man? Another week, another show. Ready to get going. How was your week?
It was good. It was a good week.
That's
All
good.
right.
Good. It's a good week. Good day.
It was an interesting week for Kanye and Pete Davidson as well.
Back again. We've done 4 shows, and 2 of them now have featured Pete Davidson and Kanye West.
Yeah, I think the people are interested in that.
Listen, people like blood.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so I'm going to read my tweet like I usually do.
Yeah.
This is what Pete Davidson wrote. I've decided I'm not going to let you treat us like this anymore. And I'm done being quiet. Grow the fuck up. West asked Davidson where he was, to which Davidson responded, in bed with your wife, and adding a selfie. Let me, I think I got
pulling it up. Pull up the picture.
Got a photo here. All right.
Yikes.
Davidson. So then West wrote back, happy to see you out of the hospital and rehab.
Oh, God.
To which Davidson replied, same here. It's wonders what these places do when you go get help. You should try it. Davidson continued, I'm in LA for the day. If you want to stop by, if you want to stop being a little internet bitch boy and talk, and don't scare me. You don't scare me, bro. You actions are so pussy and embarrassing. It's so sad to watch you ruin your legacy on the daily. Yeah, so that's what he wrote. Let me get this. Oh, there we go. Get that off the screen. All right. Well, obviously,
spicy.
Yeah,
very spicy.
Pete was angry.
Yeah, I mean,
what he said was, might have crossed the line saying he's in bed with his wife, but we got to remember Kanye has been coming at him pretty hard.
First of all, about crossing lines. He didn't just take that picture. One of 2 things happened in taking that picture. Either he told her about it and she approved it, or he did it and then he got dumped later in the day. One of the 2 things. She was well aware of that. There's no question.
Right. He's not doing that without her.
No, not without permission. No, absolutely not. Secondly, 0 chill, Pete Davidson. None. What does he come back with after that? In bed with your wife, and then sends him a picture of him, not just a picture, but in the bed. Do
you think
I don't care what you say. There's that's ether level mic drop stuff right there.
Do you think she was really there at the time?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's where. Listen, that whole family made the comeuppance from her being in bed. You know what I mean? She made a sex tape with a C-level R&B star, and she's more famous than Ray J ever was, but I Pete, do you at this point? At what point, you just be like, all right, you got, I got to be, don't ask me not to be a man. Don't ask me not to be a man. And he's held back. I total respect to it. I know that's kind of a 180 from a couple weeks ago, what I was saying, but honestly, come talk to me. I'm at this hotel, blah, blah, blah. And he's telling him, come to Sunday service. He's not coming to your church thing. He's not doing that.
I thought both options were kind of a little bit out there. One option was for Pete to go meet Kanye at his church, where everybody obviously will be on Kanye's side.
Right.
But Pete's option was to meet in his hotel room by themselves.
Like just the two of them.
Yeah,
Like I'm sure it's
neither
gonna go
option.
well.
Yeah.
You know, that's like it's. And another thing he's not wrong about, like Kanye, every day, like you look bad, man. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. Like take this L, move on, because the more, to the point where like Instagram banned him today for 24 hours. Like imagine one of the like 3 reasons people use social media is to like, you know, motherfuck their ex a little bit. Imagine, like, I mean, granted, I think it had more to do with the Trevor Noah stuff, but like, if social media banned everybody that took the time out of their day to shit talk their ex, 80% of people be getting banned every other day. You know, like so you know, like it's just becoming too much when Instagram's like, all right, you got to take a time out today. Like, imagine, like,
Yeah.
a grown man.
You mentioned last week how the Taliban is still on Twitter.
Right, right. Like, and that again shows you like who makes these decisions and what is like a bannable offense. Like the Taliban is still on Twitter. Kanye West can't use Instagram for the rest of the day because he said some not so nice things to Trevor Noah.
Yeah, and not just the Taliban, but there's a lot of crazy people still on Twitter, still on Instagram. You could make an argument most are. So
right. They're all pools anyway. Like
go on TikTok for 5 minutes and you know, you'll see all the craziness on there. So it takes a lot to get banned.
Yeah.
Where we might not know.
You got to do some real extreme shit or be really annoying constantly. And that's, he falls into the latter. He's literally just putting it up, taking it down, putting it up, taking it down. And it's all the same stuff. It's just different words, different pictures.
Do we know what exactly specifically got him banned?
Like I said, I think it had more to do with like his back. I guess he had like a back and forth with Trevor Noah, and like I didn't read what it said because I was just laughing about the fact that he got banned. Period. But like it has to do with this and the Trevor Noah thing. I think like, I mean, you might want to fact check this, but like I think he was like alluding to, you know, there were racially motivated comments towards Trevor Noah. Oh. I think that's where they justified shutting him down for the day.
At what point will this ruin his music for you permanently?
That's a good question because, and I'm not saying he's quite at the level of this other person I'm going to compare him to. Billie Jean still comes on, and I'm still like, dun, dun. And Michael Jackson's probably guilty of some really bad shit.
Never convicted, I have to say that.
No, never convicted. Never convicted, just accused. Yeah. But like I said, Thriller is still gonna get you to dance on Halloween. You know, and like another like R. Kelly, Ignition comes on. I'm still all toot toot, give me that beep beep. And he was holding women hostage. You know what I mean? Like, and it comes down to that thing. Like, I kind of got into this once with somebody, and I said, Vincent Van Gogh, Starry Night, you know, great painting after famous painting after famous painting. Also a crazy person. May or may not have cut his ear off. Allegedly had possibly engaged in sexual activity with underage people, but they still hang his paintings at MoMA when they're not busy trying to keep people from getting stabbed. Does that happen this week there? But you know what I mean? Like there's a separate the art from the artist quality to it. And I think that's always been there with him because he's always just kind of been an asshole. Like I remember like talking to John Sullivan when Dark Twisted Fantasy came out and being like, you know, he's a real jerk off, but consistently makes the best music going. You know, and like, you know, mental health's crazy. Mental health's crazy.
Our colleague John Sullivan, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Mental health is a crazy thing. You know what I mean? Like, He says he can't make the music he wants to make on the meds, so he goes off the meds to make the music. And when he goes off the meds, he goes off the rails.
Yeah, that's a
You
great
know?
point. And there is an argument to be made that that kind of mental instability sometimes goes hand in hand with the creativity.
Yeah, I mean,
how
like,
do you separate? Look at A Beautiful Mind with John
it's a
Nash.
thin, yeah, it's a thin line between genius and crazy.
Yeah,
really thin.
I think this is different because not just crazy, he just got basically punked by Pete Davidson.
Yeah, right. The guy calls himself Skeet.
Yeah, and
Skeet.
Pete's defending his girlfriend, and he's got to be feeling more confident than ever.
Yeah.
So,
Pete, his self stock has never been higher after that. Like his like you said, his confidence is through the roof right now. Because like not only did he like do the man thing, but like, listen, dude, I'm tired of you dragging me and her and this whole situation all over social media. So I'm gonna say these things, and when he got fresh with him, he got fresh back and got fresh more.
Yeah, so
like he comes out as the funnier one, and like he had the moment with the fucking picture, and also like stated his point, like I'm done with the nonsense. Like if you want to be a man about it, let's fucking go talk somewhere and hash this shit out, or you can keep running around the fucking internet, doing whatever you want,
Yeah, so
despite
I'm sorry.
I was to say, despite what Dave Chappelle said, the internet is not a real Twitter. It's not, but it's influential, especially in the lives of those people.
Absolutely. All right, so we have a holiday today. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. St. Patty's Day. You might be familiar, Sean.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan. I figured you might be a fan.
I'm a fan. I see you wore green.
Yeah, my old Brett Favre jersey. It's episode number 4, right? So we'll go with
look at you with the like coordinating.
Why? I had to go green, right?
No, you gotta go green.
Did you have any moments from your St. Patty's Day history that stand out?
Any?
Well, one of the many.
For a very long time, this was one of those days I just like marked on the calendar, like, don't have anything to do on March 18th because March 17th is going to get sloppy, but although I'll say this, I've always maintained this is one of those nights where you got to be real careful. And there's like about 6 days a year where cops are going to cop. And today's one of them. They're out there in full force because they know it's amateur night. Tonight, New Year's Eve, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, that kind of stuff, where people just make those mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, and but as far as St. Patrick's Day, God, I got to be going back 15 years. I was at a certain local watering hole in our hometown. When I say hole, I mean hole in the wall. New Street Tavern. So I had a all green Yankee hat on, and I gave it to my sister Megan. She's walking around with the hat on and this and that, and I turn around and some other random girl I've never met in my life has my hat on. Now I see this and I take the time to get in front of this situation, and I go tell my then wife, now ex-wife, hey, do not know how that girl got my hat on, but I gave it to Megan. And now that girl has it, and I don't want you to think I gave it to her. So my ex-wife goes over, and the girl had the hat on forwards. And she comes up and just, like enough to like cause a backwards reaction, and yanks the hat off. And the girl's like, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know how you got my husband's hat, but I don't like you wearing my husband's hat. Now, you've been to New Street. This is happening by the front door. Caitlin is all the way in the back by the pool tables, which to those aren't familiar is a little bit elevated from the main portion of the bar. And she sees this, and I just kind of look up and I see my sister Caitlin see her sister-in-law bickering with this girl. And I just watch tick, 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 down the stairs, tick, 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 and just comes over. And the girl's sitting on the bar stool. And Caitlin just unloads a right hand and knocks this girl clean off of the bar stool, and then grabs her by the hair and like, you ever see a cat like just aggressively paw at something, like just pop, 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 like a half a dozen times, maybe 10 times maybe. And like me and I believe it was Matteo Sirigliano, like yank Caitlin off this, and I pull her in the back. I'm like, dude, you're not even old enough to be in here right now. Like, you're out here fighting people or whatever. Situation calms down. She goes up to the girl and she's like, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I just saw you fighting with my sister-in-law and I overreacted. Da, 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 da. And the girl's like, I don't want to talk to you. Get out of my face. And of course, Caitlin's just like, I wouldn't want to talk to me too after I just punched you in the face a dozen times. And like now they're jawing again, and we like had to go. But what I heard back was this girl ended up getting like sloppy doppy drunk and had to get like carried out in like Peter Pants and stuff like that. Like, so the moral of the story is like, take it easy today. Don't overdo it. It's a bad day to do it.
I think that's
especially when you're not old enough to be there.
Right.
So.
My story, I think, is a similar lesson. So obviously I'm a drug counselor. I don't use anything. You haven't used anything at all in over a decade. But before that, I had a St. Patty's Day where I Oreo made pot brownies.
Oh.
Now I had never indulged in such a thing before, so it was new to me. I like brownies themselves, and I was hungry.
Who doesn't like brownies?
Right.
Like regular brownies. Like,
I was more interested in the brownies than the pot. So, he made a tray of brownies. There were a couple people over. Kaylin, who's now his wife, his girlfriend at the time. He had people over there, and so I took like a big, large brownie. And he's like, hey, you want to be careful with that. Said, I'm good. High tolerance. It's no big deal. It's just a brownie, right?
Just talking shit.
Yeah. Within an hour, I was convinced that I had died, and I was watching my life in slow motion.
Yeah.
A montage of my life in slow motion. So, And I actually, after I had the brownies, I went to this club at the time. We were in West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia at the time. Go Marshall. We are Marshall, right? And
green and
I
white.
don't know who I was at the time.
Green and white.
Yeah.
Go Marshall.
So I go to the club, and these two girls that had been there that had they were in the fetal position, just rocking back and forth at the club. And I just stare at them, and I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, are you all right? And they were like, no.
I can imagine.
A couple hours. Yeah.
Go ahead.
A couple hours later, it wore off, and I have never touched anything ever again. So the moral of the story is, like you said, be careful out there, everybody. I know it's St. Patty's Day. Obviously, if you struggle with addiction, don't be touching anything. Yeah. Anybody else that's out there, partying, take it easy. Even those edibles can,
every couple drinks, slip of water in there. Gotta hydrate. And listen, even those companies that are out here making legally selling edibles,
right?
Some of them will melt your face, like slow the fuck down. So. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
All right, round 2. So we got Tom Brady unretiring this week.
6 weeks? Is that what
how long it was?
I think it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think he wanted people. It's like going to your own funeral. He wanted to hear what everybody was going to say and get that, all that feedback.
What character?
How great you were, how great you are. We're going to miss you. And he's like, oh yeah. And
who was it on Curb Your Enthusiasm who like threw his own funeral before he died? I forget who it was. But like, and of course, Larry just couldn't tolerate the whole situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's not crazy. Like to see what it would be like. And he said, I think in the release there's unfinished business. Like what unfinished business is there? You have virtually every major record you could possibly attain. You were still competing at the highest level. Like, was he runner up for MVP last year?
If anyone doesn't have unfinished business, it would be him.
Right. Like when he unretired, I said to Andy, I said, this guy unfinished business. I said, he has won 3 more Super Bowls than any player ever, regardless of what position they play.
And franchises, mostly.
Right. There's not another team that's won more than 6, and he's 9.
Or that he's been to?
Wait, he won, how many did he win?
He won 7.
Oh, right, he went to 9. I'm sorry.
But
you know what I mean? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's won 1 more than any team has won.
Right.
You know, like it. Honestly, do you know what I think it is?
What?
Giselle has to be so miserable to live with that he couldn't make it 6 weeks without going back to this thing that is totally time consuming. Like, we took like all right, the season ends, the Super Bowl, whatever. There's no real off season for these guys. It's, I mean, not like in the sense that like professional wrestling, they're literally doing it every week around the calendar. Like, all right, maybe a couple weeks he goes on a vacation, catches some fish or plays some golf, whatever it is he likes to do in his free time when he's not, terrorizing secondaries. And then the next thing you know, it's, there's OTAs and there's this, and he's got guys coming in. They're constantly working. Like when you're an active player, especially somebody like him with that whole TB12 program and all that stuff, like day to day, what was required of him, at least from his own standards, to be a professional quarterback, dominated all of his time. It had to have. So for 6 weeks, he had nothing to do. And for 6 weeks, he had to really live with her. 6 weeks.
So you're blaming his wife.
And that's Giselle, a supermodel.
Ladies, send your hate mail to P.O. Box.
Yeah.
John Davis.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, but on the flip side, if you can keep it's tough. Like if you you don't want to like diminish yourself and be like a shell of what you once were at the end, because like everybody just bags on Jordan for coming back and playing for the Wizards. You know what I mean? Even though he's still averaging 20 plus a game, it's like it wasn't Michael Jordan. He wasn't that guy anymore. So you don't want to leave it at that. But at the same time, like when he did, like if he was going to walk away now, like as good as he's ever been, like he can still do it. Like that much we know.
He threw for 5,300, and given there was an extra game, but even if you take out the extra game, he threw for 5,300 yards. So he probably still would have thrown 5,000 even in this team.
I mean, like I don't know what his per game average was last year, but you're talking at least 4,900 yards. The Jets haven't had a guy throw for 4,000 yards since Joe Namath was the first guy to ever throw for 4,000 yards. And he had 4,000 in like 7. Granted, at a time when people just didn't do that, but like, you know what I mean? Like this guy hit almost 5,000 at age 412. Like, like if you could do it as long as you can do it at that level. But at the same time, like you have nothing left to prove, man.
Well, Brady, he said it a couple weeks ago, and I think it was right before the retirement announcement when they were asking him about it, and he was saying that he doesn't want to be sitting on the couch watching the games, going, "Man, I could do better than that." That would bother him. But I would add this too, right? Even if he retires, plays 1 more year, retires, and he had always said he wanted to play till 45, and everybody laughed at it. So he's 44, he'll be 45. So let's say he retires after this year. So he'll be 45. How many people get to retire at 45?
In real life?
Right. If you look at him just as a regular person, if you love what you do, right?
Like if he was like a cop or like a plumber or something.
Anybody, a human, right? Look at him at just any other profession on earth, right? How many people would want to give up? How many people would give up what they love to do at 45 years old if they could keep doing it.
I guess. Yeah. Like I said, if you can keep doing it, keep doing it. But why go through the charade of saying you're not going to do it anymore? Like it's like even when it like, remember it like broke and then it wasn't confirmed for like a week. Even then it did have this air of like, is this really going to happen? And then he said, yeah, I'm going to retire, or whatever. How committed were you really? If all it took was 6 weeks, and the Giselle joke aside,
Right.
if 6 weeks was all it took, like you said, he didn't want to look on the couch like, I could be better than that. Well, look right now in the NFL. Like I said, he was runner up for MVP. So Aaron Rodgers won it. That's one. Consistently Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Who else? Who else can he look at and say, I can't say, I could have definitely done it better than him. You're talking 25, 27 guys, starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now that he can say almost every week, I could do better than that. Because he did. Right. He did. He literally just did.
I was convinced that he was going to become a movie star. I thought he was going to go down that road. Maybe he thought acting seemed harder than football.
Maybe the callbacks weren't coming in. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it probably is harder than football. But being a Jet fan, it's weird. Like when I do say I have this like grown, this untoppable amount of respect for like him as an athlete and a winner. Just like he's the winning winner. Yeah. Like nobody wins like him. I don't want to hear Bill Russell. I get it. 11 and 13. There was also him and Wilt Chamberlain and a handful of guys who were much shorter than them at the time in the NBA. That basketball as we know it today didn't start till Larry Bird and Magic Johnson showed up, as far as I'm concerned. Like it was just a different sport prior to the 70s, and then the 70s is this weird diluted period. And then Bird and Magic showed up, and it began to create the game we know today. So I don't want to hear Bill Russell in that sense because it's totally not just a different sport, a different world. Literally a different world at the time. So
the Bucks are listed as the top one of the top winners in free agency right now. I would say mainly because of Brady and a lot of guys now are coming back because of. So here's the other teams.
It's not the Jets.
For example,
you're sure it's not the Jets?
The Miami Dolphins. They just signed Raheem Mostert yesterday. They signed Emmanuel Ogbah. They signed Cedric Wilson, and they franchised Mike Gesicki, and they signed Chase Edmonds at running back. So, I mean, they're having we knew that they had a lot of money to spend.
Florida's where everything is, apparently. Maybe there's something to that no state tax thing. Because Jacksonville, too. Jacksonville just bought everybody just now. Like Brandon Scherf, Christian Kirk. Popular in the OTTL fantasy football league. The old Christian Kirk. You knew he was
Kirk score?
Kirk score again? Kirk score? No, because like Miami's Teddy Bridgewater.
That's another one.
They brought it
solid backup.
Brady's coming back. That's a coup in itself for Tampa. Like, because honestly, they had no plan. There's no plan.
Tampa? No.
There's where there's still no plan? Still no plan in Indianapolis. Still no plan in Indianapolis. So I still have no idea what they did there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we keep going, they're on the losers list right now.
Well, you brought up your team and what they bring. I'm gonna fan out a minute. I like the Jets signing not one but two tight ends. Uzomah and Conklin, the kid from Minnesota. He really came out of nowhere. Like once the other kid Smith got like hurt and was just not gonna play. He was like the blocking tight end prior to.
Great name for St. Patty's Day, by the way, Conklin.
Tyler Conklin.
Like
Irish Tyler Conklin. The great white hype.
Yep.
That was Terry in that movie, but
right. This is Tyler, right?
Tyler Conklin. Terry's nephew.
Right. He's a real person.
So where does Jarvis Landry land anywhere yet today? I haven't looked in a couple hours really.
I mean, I know Kansas City is interested, but I
Because
don't
like
think he's
once
signed
Amari
yet.
Cooper was traded there, I was like, ooh, writing's on the wall for Jarvis Landry.
But I want to go back to what you said about the Jets, because that's a good sign for them, because Kittle was a big part of the Niners offense
Yeah.
when
You're gonna see them run a
when
lot
your
of more
coach
like
was there. What's your the Jets coach when he was over in
Robert Saleh.
right?
Yeah.
So it's always good, and the same thing with Mostert going to Miami, where McDaniel, who's now the Dolphins head coach. So it's always, I think it's always a good sign when you see the new coach
bringing in their guys. Bringing in their guys.
Right.
Like I'll tell you, one of the two best back-to-back years of my life as a Jet fan were those first two Rex Ryan years. Him bringing Bart Scott with him was a huge part of that.
Right.
I still use the meme of him can't wait to this day for things, but yeah. So
Parcells used to do that all the time.
When does, yeah. They're giving another one. Jets, great season. Brought Curtis Martin in. They went 12-4 with Parcells. You bring your guys with you, Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Indianapolis.
Still free agent.
Indianapolis.
Yeah. They're saying Jordan Love for Indy.
I mean, maybe he's better than Jameis Winston, but we don't know. Because when did Jordan Love play? Madden? Like, I mean, granted, he's sitting there week in, week out watching maybe the best doing it right now. And did you see his contract? His extension? 3 years for Rodgers, 3 years, $150 million.
Yeah.
And it's almost all like base salary. It's all like upfront signing bonuses, like type stuff. So it's like his cap hit is minimal. It's like a genius contract going both ways. Like he's guaranteed the money. It doesn't hurt the team. Like to pay other people, like Devontae Adams.
Right. I think a big part of Rodgers and that all the drama that went on in Green Bay is trying to get that big contract, because they didn't want to end up like the Lions did with Megatron.
Yeah.
And Barry Sanders, because
Rodgers, I'm done. I don't need to go anywhere. I made money. I won. I did this. Especially him. Barry didn't win anything. Calvin Johnson didn't win anything. Like Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl, a couple of Ps.
No, he could have retired.
4 now. He could have just walked away. He doesn't have any But that, like you said, that you get stuck with these guys and you don't know how to figure it out, and they figured it out. I think Moore played in Detroit with Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson in the sense of just the Lions are a bad franchise. There's never even I could shit on my team all day long. There's been high spots where it's been maybe I always said if Mark Sanchez wasn't the quarterback of those early 2010 Jets teams, especially the second year, they may win a Super Bowl. They were that good everywhere else. The Lions have never been that good everywhere else. Anytime they've had success, it's been they've had this generational talent in one spot.
Well, talking about free agency, they just signed DJ Chark, and also I want to get in. So I think they're a winner there. But you got the Chargers.
Well, somebody's got to throw them the ball, though, too.
Right. I think they're probably going to draft a QB. But before we get in, I want to get the Chargers into this round too, because they traded for Khalil Mack, and they re-signed Mike Williams. I mean, they're going all in.
Yeah. Well, they got their guy at quarterback and Herbert. You know what I mean? And honestly, the Chargers were right on a playoff verge last year. You know what I mean? You get the right couple of things, and that puts you over the top. You go from just above 500 team that's a playoff contender to also a legitimate contender, and that division is just getting better.
Yeah.
What a division. Yeah, it's probably the best division in football. The AFC West. When Denver's the worst team in that division, it's probably safe to say that.
You got the Raiders are in that division too.
Another coup, Von Miller. Is he still worth that deal? What do you got?
Yeah, that a 6-year deal for a defensive player that's 33.
I mean, when you look at the the money was $120 million, $51 million in guarantees. I had this one up. That averages 17.5 a year for the first.
Right, round 3. So we have a very special guest this week, a guy that knows football, knows more than I've ever known about football, and more than I've ever forgotten about football. Football Marc.
Wisdom.
All right. Let's welcome Marc to the show. How you doing, Marc?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thanks for asking.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. We thought this week would be a great week to have you on because everything going on in the NFL, particularly Deshaun Watson. Cleveland has been trying to sign him, and then now you have the Falcons kind of coming out of nowhere and talking to him. So what do you think about Deshaun Watson, and who do you think is going to get him?
I think Deshaun Watson is a super quarterback. He has a skill set that is beyond his wildest dreams. Cleveland is out of the question. They're going to retain Baker. I read that today.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I think I saw that too. That they were they're pulling out of this.
You saw that message he sent though? He almost said a goodbye message to them.
He thought he was gone.
I mean, if you can move, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't care how good Baker's been at his best. Like, if you can have Deshaun Watson, you take Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely.
They were drafted the same year, right?
Watson?
No.
I
think Deshaun was there before him.
Yeah. I think it was the year before he went. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I think that Atlanta, he acquired to speak with Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think that's a good fit for him, but he's from Georgia. I think he might want to be in Georgia.
I didn't think about that.
Yes.
Football wise or personal wise?
I think knowing Deshaun, I think he can make it work. He's that type of quarterback.
Yeah.
There's not much there besides Pitts. They don't really have much.
Right.
Ridley's gone for the year.
They probably have a lot of cap space. Make some good moves. They'll be okay.
What do they do with Matt Ryan?
Just got to go. Release him.
You know, his cap hit is insane, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's
I think
the
it's
problem.
the highest in the league.
I know.
Like, it's something crazy, like 47. I think they just restructured it, so it's not as bad. But I think like a week ago, I saw it was like 46 or 47 million against the cap if they just cut him. Like, oof.
Yeah,
that's what I've seen too.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, I don't care how bad the guy is. $46 million.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes.
Carolina, I've always thought is the front runner to get him.
Yes. I think Carolina will be a good fit for him. He's got not a young coach, but he's got a coach that's really innovative.
Yeah.
You know, you could do a lot of things with Deshaun. You know, play RPOs. He does a lot of stuff. He can stand in the pocket and throw the ball, and he's very mobile. He's so smart. He's accurate. He could do it all.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've been a Deshaun Watson guy for the moment I first saw him at Clemson. You know, like right down to not beating Alabama and then coming back and beating Alabama, being like, this kid just has it. Like, whatever it is, he's got it. You know, I mean, look, Houston was terrible his last year there, and he still made the Pro Bowl. Like, what quarterbacks make the Pro Bowl for like 4 and 12 teams? Like, that doesn't happen.
Right. Well, he had that one big year. He had 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But besides that one big year, you know, he hasn't had, you know, a bunch of years in a row. I think he's very good. I like taller quarterbacks. I'll be honest. I think the guys that win tend to be 6'3" and above. And even Mahomes, who's mobile, is 6'3". Now, Russell Wilson is definitely the exception.
Granted, the exception, but I was going to say Russell Wilson wouldn't be the tallest person in this podcast right now.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know how tall Marc is, but I'm taller than Russell Wilson, and you're taller than me, John. So,
but Watson is 6'2", so he's not a short quarterback.
No,
by any means.
Yeah, he seems. If you look at him on the field, he looks taller than the six. The
He plays taller. He plays taller.
Right.
He plays taller for sure.
And then Deshaun had D-Hop with him, so
That
that
didn't
helped
hurt.
tremendously. That didn't hurt
Didn't
at
hurt.
all.
No.
You know, you got
And
to
we saw
target
how
like,
important he was in Arizona. After he got hurt, Murray didn't do anything.
no. They fell apart.
Right.
They were what, 9-2 when he got hurt?
And it goes to show you how important D-Hop was.
Yep.
And not just like fell apart down the stretch, made the playoffs. They were abysmal in that playoff game. I mean, like my 10-year-old stepson was looking at it like, and he just started playing football, does not really like know the nuance of the game. And he was like chuckling at how like inept the Cardinals really looked on offense in that playoff game.
They got exposed.
Yeah.
As soon as he went down, they were exposed. Actually, Kyler Murray got exposed.
Little quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then when he's hurt, he's not mobile. So that's a problem. When he can't be mobile, he can't produce the way he normally produces.
Well, like you said about Watson, like he has the mobility and the smarts to pick and choose when to use the mobility, but the game isn't relying on the mobility. A lot of Murray's game is relying on the mobility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see him go to New Orleans without what's the coach's name again? It just
Peyton.
Yeah, on Peyton. You know, he's special, and without him, I don't know if he would do well like the other quarterbacks have done.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a system that works. I don't, so, but he does. They do have Michael Thomas if he's healthy. I think he would, and then they have
Big if.
the running back, he's super special.
Yeah,
he's
He's
a hybrid.
Right.
He's a hybrid. He could do it all.
Is Kamara facing any time though for that? What was that, a brawl in Vegas?
Not that I know of. I know he got arrested.
Because without him, they're in trouble.
And,
right.
And Mike, to go back to Michael Thomas, if Kamara like can't play and they don't have an answer at quarterback, Michael Thomas is going to be hurt.
Yes.
As long as he wants to be hurt, I took a flyer on him in our fantasy league.
You know about Michael Thomas.
Like middle to late rounds, you just linger around like, oh, take him. He plays, he doesn't. Then play a snap. You know what I mean? Like, and for a month, they're like, hey, he's coming back. And they still had Sean Payton. You know what I mean? Like, and like they weren't not in the game. You know what I mean? Like, so if there's nothing to engage him, he just strikes me as the type of guy who's like, well, I'm just gonna stay home. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Mark, who has impressed you in the NFL in free agency? Has there been a team or a contract that really stood out to you?
Gregory. That signing, that he's going to do well. He's one. I like Von Miller. Von Miller up in Buffalo. I like that. I think that takes them to another level. Offensively, they're strong, but defensively now, that's going to be if they can pass, if they can stop, if they can get a good pass rush going, they're going to be a problem.
The money on the Von Miller deal does not concern me. The $120 million. The fifth and sixth year of that deal, he's going to be a little long in the tooth,
right?
But the way the contract goes out, it's $17.5 million per for the first 4 years. So the bulk of it's the first couple of years. So if he does essentially shit the bed the last couple of years, you're not paying that premier edge rusher price for it. But I had said last week on the show to John when we were talking about it, it might have been the week before, Buffalo had statistically the number one overall defense in the NFL and not one guy make the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Yes.
And now you have a legitimate star.
Exactly.
A leader. He's a leader.
And a leader. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. He actually, I think he helped Aaron Donald in that process because I heard conversations of him telling him to really take the lead and pushing him to be that guy, making his teammates engage.
Yeah.
And look what happened. They won the Super Bowl.
So I want to ask you what you think about the overtime rule changes that are being considered. So I think it was the Eagles, the Titans, and I think the Bills are proposing a couple different options. One of the options is to let both teams, that even if both teams get a chance at both teams get the ball in overtime. Both teams get a chance.
That's the answer.
Overtime. No, but the other option that was suggested was you could score, but you win if you get a 2-point conversion.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like, I don't care. Like, there's slight differences between the NFL and the college game. Like, every game, the hash marks are wider, the goalpost is wider. You catch, you don't get touched, you go down, the play's over. There's little things. 1 foot's got to get in bounds. There's small things that are different. But one thing that college does that is for sure better than the NFL is their overtime situation. And that gets chaotic as it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, because then they're just running 2-point conversion plays eventually once you get to 5, 6 overtimes, because at that point they're just trying to wrap it up.
Right.
But
that I don't like.
Like, that maybe the best football game I've ever seen. The Bills didn't even get the ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt Ryan, we were just talking about Matt Ryan, MVP of the league that year, doesn't touch the field in overtime of that Super Bowl.
Right. Tell the defense stop the football. That's what they need to do. Stop play defense.
Play defense.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Stop them. 100%, Mark. No, that's correct. Like, to me, I don't even see there like it happened in the Super Bowl, but they had that caveat of, well, you guys did blow a 25-point lead in regulation. You know what I mean? Like, you had ample opportunity to put this game away. I think their win percentage at one point in that game was 99.8% and still lost. The Bills Chiefs game in the playoffs, the win percentage swung 4 times in the final 2 minutes of the game from one team to the other, and high. Like, that game literally, like, they should have absolutely gotten the ball in overtime.
You know, I like the coin toss just in itself, because I grew up with it. You know, every Madden game, you know, it goes to overtime and you get the coin flip.
Yeah.
You know, there's a sentimentality to it.
Yeah,
I agree. I like what Mark said too. You know, it's the defense's job to stop them. So, Mark, you're a football guy, but I wanted to get your thoughts on Kyrie Irving not being allowed to play, not being allowed to play in New York, and then scoring 60 points the other night.
Okay. My opinion is, I think that they should allow him to play because other teams are coming in there, or people are coming in there unvaccinated.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like everything. He's lifting all these other mandates except that.
Yeah.
Do I think that Brooklyn with Kyrie, they have a stronger chance of getting to the championship? Without him, no.
Right.
And it's not going to happen. They lost last night. It goes to show you how great he is, and when he wants to play, because Kyrie is Kyrie. You know, like, at the end of the day, his way of thinking is kind of a little outrageous at times.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal basketball player. He should have been on the 75.
Yep.
Okay. Over quite a few guards there. And
in general, or of his era?
Yes. When he was with Cleveland, when him and Kevin Love got hurt, they should have won it then. Mm-hmm. If he didn't get hurt, I think they would have won that chip.
You can make a case. I always said that LeBron, they lost that series in 6. LeBron still should have been MVP of that series in spite of them losing in 6.
Right. And then when they won,
he had to carry him after they got hurt.
Yeah.
Right. And then when they won it, Kyrie should have got MVP.
Yeah, but you knew he wasn't going to get that.
He should have won. He should have got that.
Like, he
was unguardable. He was killing them.
I saw it. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm also saying, he wasn't going to get that. Like,
he was unguardable. He was a real problem. He still is a real problem.
60 the other night. Like, and
Yeah.
honestly, you look at the 60 of the night, like when he does things like that, it highlights like how him not being there hurts them.
Right, exactly.
You know, and like for it to be and like you mentioned, like some of his way of thinking, like he's disengaged himself from basketball before this, like for other reasons. So that sometimes brings people into question, like his level of commitment to it. I'm like, I feel like you're in the NBA. Like you are committed to it to some extent. Like, I don't care how uncommitted to this someone might say you are, but for him to not, like you said, not be allowed to play in New York. So every game in Brooklyn and any game in Madison Square Garden, that's 42 games out of the year. That's more than half of their season. When you got people coming in there that aren't vaccinated, that aren't wearing masks. Right. I took my children to a trampoline park thing the other day. There's no mask mandate in New York. None of these kids, there's 200 kids running around this joint. There's nobody has a mask. None of these kids are vaccinated. You know what I mean? Like, and it brings up, I had mentioned it to John earlier, the Yankees are about to go through a similar thing. Aaron Judge isn't vaccinated.
Right.
Allegedly. I don't know. I say that, but like they're very coy about his vaccination status. But right there, you're talking 81 games in the Bronx, 3 games in Queens, and 9 games in Toronto where he can't go because of this.
Right.
They won't even let him in the country because he's unvaccinated. You know, like, so yeah, right there, you're talking 93 games. Maybe if they play there's another series. I'm just saying the 3 with the Mets off the top of my head. Talking 96 games, maybe. That's more than half of that season. So to me, but like you said, I was at Yankee games last year. I was vaccinated, but there was plenty of people there that weren't.
So
exactly.
What is the law that?
What, John?
What's the law that's keeping him from? It's crazy that they're getting fined for letting him in the locker room.
It has to do with when they let them play, when everything was getting shut down, they labeled them entertainment, things like that, as essential workers. And then the mandate became essential workers have to be mandated. So these leagues are we're going to follow local procedures. That's why he can play everywhere else, because nowhere else has this. But New York had this because New York got punched in the face when this happened, hard. So he's they're not allowed, because they were labeled essential workers, it'd be the same thing as being well, this nurse doesn't have to get vaccinated. Well, no, the rules say she does. You know what I mean? On a much smaller scale we're talking about here, even though it's probably more important what they're doing than playing basketball for sure. But
they're under that umbrella.
They're under that umbrella. And that's where it comes from. That was the genesis of it. And and getting vaccinated or not getting vaccinated, that's a personal decision.
I love that Durant called out the mayor.
Yeah, Eric Adams. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you heard the mayor was just Kyrie can play when he gets vaccinated. That's it. Just quick, simple, that's it. He can play tomorrow. He gets vaccinated today. So I don't know that he's coming off of it,
But Durant was talking about that the rule is just confusing of why are you letting people in the building that haven't been vaccinated? But
right. Because they are not under, like I said, they're not under this essential workers umbrella. I'm 99% positive that's what the situation is.
Yeah. Well, either way, I like that Durant has the balls to call out the mayor.
Yes.
Have you ever seen his Twitter feed?
That's Kevin Durant.
That's Kevin Durant, right?
I'm
when
Kevin
he
Durant. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is very outspoken.
He's the greatest heel in basketball.
Yes.
He's the Ric Flair of the NBA right now.
Yeah.
He literally does not give a shit. He's going to say it. He's going to tweet it. When he first went to Golden State, I thought it was oh, this is an act because he's going there. People look at him like a bad guy. And then he just kept it up. Maybe this was him the whole time, I guess, maybe he wasn't telling his mom, you the real MVP, and crying when he won the MVP award. And maybe he was, Twitter bomb Kevin Durant. He don't care. Eric Adams don't affect him. That's how he looks at it.
Yeah. Eric Adams needs to drop that mandate. Let these players play the sport game and move forward.
Or reevaluate the criteria you're trying to meet here. Like I said, if it really is the whole the essential worker avenue that I came up with, that was so they could play with no one watching the game, no one physically at the game. we're past this point. Like it's
Right.
like when you can go, there's a ton of stupid old rules and laws on the books in places that are just like mind boggling. But like, obviously this happened, so they had to make a law for this, and it's absurd. And we're way past this point. But they just never bothered taking it off, and no one upholds this law.
There's a great book about laws where it has it's like a book about funny laws in the country. And there's places where like you're not allowed to have an ice cream cone inside, or, stuff like that.
Yeah. Ridiculous stuff. Like you can't tie a giraffe to a lamppost. It's like, so, cause someone did this apparently,
that's where the rule of thumb came from, was that's the width of the rod that you could beat your wife with.
Your wife with.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where that phrase came from.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that's where that came from. In West Virginia, where I lived, you could only, again, this is another beat your wife thing. Total, not okay. Just so we're clear, that you could only beat your wife on the steps of the courthouse. So there's a lot of weird laws out there. The camera just froze on you giving a thumbs up, by the way, Sean.
Oh, I was saying, like, you're saying rule of thumb. I'm looking at my thumb, and then I looked at my wrist.
Yeah, that was. Might have to edit that.
No, but I meant like, there's a movie. There's a movie where the guy, they say that, and the guy makes the joke. It's a rule of thumb. Should have been rule of wrist.
The camera was just you going like this.
It happens.
Marc, I want to thank you for being on. This was awesome. We'll definitely have to have you
coming
back
on, Marc.
All right, thank you.
And all right, that was 45 minutes. You'll never get back with John and Sean and Football Marc, and we'll see you next week.